On this edition of the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford.
To get ready for a really good football team, we're going to need our best week.
The running game and our best player is still Saquon Barkley.
He's not hitting a rookie wall. He's actually getting better as the season goes along.
Deontay Banks gets his first pick.
We just got to play physical. We got to play fast. And not only that, we got to make our plays.
Hyatt makes a leaping catch. The rookie has had a huge impact in this ball game.
And welcome to another edition of the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. I'm Bob Papa. On Monday night, it's the Giants and Packers. Legacy game Giants fans, as the Big Blue will be wearing those uniforms from the 80s and early 90s. As always, we're joined by two-time Super Bowl champion Carl Banks. He wore those unis, and the head coach of the New York Giants, Brian Daboll. And Coach, let's just go back to the Patriots game since we haven't spoken to you since. You have to be proud of the way your team kind of fought through in that game to pick up a second win heading into the bye.
Yeah, it was good to get that win, 2 in a row going into the bye. Some positive feelings, but a 60-minute game, so it was good to get that win.
Coach, the resilience of your team.
Sure.
It wasn't a pretty game at all, but it just seems like the resolve of this team, offensively and defensively, really said they wanted to win this game.
Sure, yeah, close-knit group. You know, they work hard. They do all the right stuff throughout the week to go out there and play their best on Sundays, or in this case, upcoming Monday. Got a lot of respect for those guys. And again, it's good to see the results, you know, after you put so much work into it.
Coach, one of the things in the two-game winning streak, Tommy DeVito has played quarterback for you, and he's made a conscious effort to not put the ball in harm's way. Is that something, I mean, you never want a quarterback to put the ball in harm's way, but his understanding of what's happening around him, have you seen a lot of growth in him?
Sure, yeah, I think he's had 2 good games in terms of doing the things we've asked him to do. You know, there's always room for improvement, and he'll be the first to admit that, but he has the right mindset. He's played the quarterback spot well for us.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about the cohesiveness of the offensive line now? It seems as though you're able to do some different things in the passing game, and it looks like the line is communicating a lot better.
Yeah, you know, it's good. We've had a few weeks here where the same guys have played. You know, we've had a kind of revolving door at a fair amount of spots, but I'd say they've improved throughout the year. It's good to have some consistency, and they'll have a big challenge ahead of them this week.
Coach, in your weekly grind, as you review the game and then look ahead to the next game, did you learn a lot more about your team during the bye week to do that self-scout, or does that kind of happen every week anyway? Yeah,
we do that. We do that every week. Make sure we're staying up with our stuff and the things that we need to improve. And, you're also looking at some trends around the league or in colleges at times, but, you get a little bit more time to do that. But that's something we try to stay on top of each week.
All right, we're going to talk with Coach a little bit later on in the program to preview the Giants and Packers. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, our player interview here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford.
Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. I'm Madeline Burke, and joined now by Giants wide receiver Jaylen Hayes. Jaylen, thanks so much for taking the time, coming off the bye week, late in the season, but it finally came around. How are you feeling?
Feel good. Bye week came late, but I feel good.
How'd you spend your bye week?
Went to LA. Went to LA for a couple of days. Spent time with my girl, but really staying off my feet. Making sure that I'm healthy coming back because we still got 5 more games. So but I feel good though.
5 more games, but coming into this home stretch with that momentum, winning the last 2 before the bye week break, coming off your first 100-yard game of the season and earning Rookie of the Week honors as well. How does it feel? I mean, Darius Slayton talked about how he says Jaylen just finally showed everyone who he is. How does it feel for you to accomplish that and get that league recognition?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts first just in the film room, your preparation, making sure you're doing the right things that you need to do throughout the week. And at the same time, I think it goes to the leadership that, we have in that locker room. Guys like Darius Slayton, Shepard, Paris Campbell, Isaiah Hodgins, the guys, the vets that, been in the league for a couple of years, they helped me a lot, just having the experience and teaching me different things that they have when they were out there on the field. So I think it's just a lot of combinations of just preparation, having good guys in that locker room. When the game day came, I was prepared, ready to go.
You were candid, too, about how it was kind of a struggle for you. I mean, in college at Tennessee, you were getting 100 yards every game. You know, like it was easier to do, and then it took a while to get to that point in the NFL. I know you had a pretty impactful conversation with Coach Daboll before that Patriots game. How did that change your perspective?
Yeah, just went to Dave's, and you know, it wasn't a crazy serious talk. Just asking him, you know, what do I need to do more? What do I need to do better? Just little things to, you know, just to try for myself, just to help the team, you know, help the offense, and not only that, help Tommy, especially with him, you know, being a rookie. Help him being a quarterback, because it's, you know, it's hard to be a quarterback in this league. So, like I said, it just goes to just all of them, how they help me, and I'm just blessed for it, for sure.
You talk about helping Tommy too. I mean, he's been such a galvanizing factor in the locker room and the fan base, and it's been fun to watch getting those wins as well. But you made a comment about how he's kind of inspired a little bit more confidence in the struggles. How would you describe that?
Yeah, I mean, he came in as an undrafted rookie, and I've been with him, third team, you know, when we came up here at rookie mini camp and the OTAs and training camp. And then just throughout the season, you can see his confidence growing, just learning the playbook, learning his role, learning what he has to do. And I think, you know, when we finally unleashed him and he went out there on the field, you know, he doesn't warm up at all. He just goes out there and throws when it's time, when the lights come on. So, you know, we have a quarterback like that, who's confident in himself. You know, it all goes through a quarterback in this league. So I'm just happy for him, happy of his success that he has had so far, and hopefully we can keep going for him.
It's got to be helpful too, though. You mentioned all those reps you guys have taken throughout the course of the season, the off season, all that familiarity. I mean, because you've caught balls from 3 different quarterbacks this season, but you and Tommy having that rapport has got to help both of you, as at this point in the season, I'm sure your grasp of this offense has grown. Yeah, definitely. I think just because we both came in at the same time, we both were learning the playbook at the same time. So it was kind of hard for us, you know, when we got up here. Dave's and Coach Cav's offense, like their playbook is a little difficult. You know, it's not the easiest thing in the world. So it took a little time for us to learn. And I think just off of that, you know, we got close and really became close friends, just, you know, learning the playbook and, you know, seeing each other, going to his house, you know, trying to learn his playbook. So I think it just starts with all that, you know, just getting close with him, you know, outside of football. And I think, you know, when we did get on the field, it's just easy for us. When you mentioned that their playbook is challenging, you know, is that something that you look at and say, okay, this is a challenge from college to an NFL playbook, or you think there's something about the way they see an offense that is more unique and more different than you've experienced? Yeah, I think just for me personally, you know, Tennessee's offense is completely different than, you know, what we run up here. Tennessee, we have more vertical seams, more vertical offense. You know, here's more just regular pro style offense. So it's just a little change up for me. So it was harder for me to learn compared to other rookies that came in. But I think just based off of what we did, just that off season, how we came in and learned the playbook, just brought us closer together. So I'm just proud of what he has done. We just got to continue to keep going. And continuing on Monday Night Football, I mean, coming back from the 5th primetime game of the season. For you now, this has got to be old hat a little bit. Yeah. Monday Night Football, though, at MetLife Stadium, there's still a lot of fun around that. What have you learned about how different a primetime game feels for you? Yeah, well, it's late. It's a late game. Yeah. I think that's definitely number one. But I think we know, just as a team, you know, those primetime games are the ones, you know, everybody wants to play in. You know, it's the night game. Everybody's watching. And not only that, it's just you doing it with your teammates, you know, people that you love. So we can't wait to play the Packers on Monday night, and, you know, we're going to be ready. And you're playing a Packers team that's kind of on a heater right now. They've won 4 of their last 5 games. Their pass rush has been a point of strength for them as well. When you look at the way that their pass defense especially has been playing recently, how does that affect or change the way you prepare? Yeah, it changes a lot. You know, when you got to focus on the D-line, especially in this league, we got to get the ball out of Tommy's hands. That's first. So we got to get open, you know, as receivers. You know, that's our job, is to get open. And I think another thing is, they have a good secondary. They have a good secondary, so we got to get open. Only that, we got to get open quick. So it's going to be a good game for us. It's going to be a challenge for us, but I think we'll be ready. What are you zeroing in on when you're studying the film of this Packers team right now? Yeah, that's a lot of things. You know, for me, I don't really look at the D-line or anything, but I look at all secondary. You know, they have great corners. They have one top corner in the league right now, and they have great safety. So they're fast, they're physical, they like to put hands on. So I think for us, we just got to play physical. We got to meet their physicality. We got to play fast, and not only that, we got to make our plays that, you know, when the ball's thrown to us. So we do those 3 things, we'll be good. We'll be good indeed. All right, Monday Night Football at MetLife Stadium, Giants, Packers. Jaylen Hayes, thanks so much for taking the time. I appreciate you. We've got much more to come here on the Coach Daboll Show, brought to you by Ford. Stay with us. We'll be back with more after this.
Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show presented by Ford. Monday night, it's the Giants and Packers at MetLife Stadium. Time for head-to-head. Here's Paul Dottino and Sean O'Hara.
All right, so we're back off the bye, and we go head-to-head for the Giants and Packers coming up this weekend, Sean. And first up, this matchup we really like, veteran Preston Smith against Andrew Thomas. Smith is a 9-year NFL veteran, and if you can believe this, he's only missed one game. He has been durable, he has been steady, he has been reliable. Since 2015, Sean, and this is going to blow your mind, he and T.J. Watt are the only two NFL players to have at least 50 sacks, 5 interceptions, and 5 forced fumbles. And this year, he's number 2 on the Packers in quarterback hits. The Giants know they need to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, he's a veteran rusher in this league. He's proved himself. He's been doing it for a while. First off, just, he has good size, great length. He's athletic, and then he's savvy. Like he knows moves, he knows how to attack guys, and so you have to be prepared for that.
Does technique have to be even more important against a guy like that who stresses the consistency in his play to be a successful defender?
Yeah, for sure. He's went against a lot of good tackles and made a lot of plays in this league. So if he sees something, he's going to exploit it. So I got to be prepared for that.
Well, Andrew Thomas is going to have his hands full with this crafty veteran. You mentioned his longevity and his availability, obviously extremely durable. The thing that jumps out at you about Preston Smith is his hand usage. He does a great job with the hand swipes. He's constantly setting up some of his outside moves. You mentioned the fact that he had the forced fumble. He had a huge sack forced fumble against the Minnesota Vikings against Christian Darrisaw. So when you look at some of these sacks, some of those sacks have come against some of the best left tackles in the league. I mentioned Darrisaw. He also beat Colton Miller on a little Euro step, kind of faked inside, short in the corner, and beat him outside. So for Andrew Thomas, the biggest challenge for him going against Preston Smith is block longer than he plays the play. So you can't just give up on the play because Preston Smith has a very good motor. He's constantly playing through the whistle. I think Andrew Thomas, you see down here the 11 pressures allowed and the 3 sacks allowed. Some of that is because he's had some young quarterbacks, right? Tommy DeVito is still learning. Some of these pressures and hits are because the quarterback is holding on to the ball. When you know that as an offensive lineman, you have to block. You can't have a clock in your head. It can't be 2-3 seconds and stop. Got to keep moving your feet. So that's really the challenge with Andrew Thomas. And I mentioned the hand battle. Andrew Thomas has always had really good hands and a really good punch. But when you miss 7 weeks due to injury and you come back, you don't feel like you're in rhythm. And I think there's been a couple times since he came back from injury that he doesn't look like his feet are underneath him. This is a matchup that he's going to definitely want to make sure he's got his feet so he can have a physical punch. He can get his hands on Preston Smith and keep blocking him through the whistle.
Only one time in Thomas's career has he opposed Preston Smith. That was last year when the Giants played the Packers in London. And in over 60 snaps, he did not even allow Smith to get a quarterback pressure.
He's got his number.
He sure does. All right, our next head-to-head matchup is Romeo Doubs against Deonte Banks. Now, Christian Watson is coming off a bad hamstring. He hurt it the other night in Kansas City. So Doubs, who moves all over the place, is going to see a lot of Banks in this game. Now, what's interesting about this second-year player is that when you look at his numbers, the 7 touchdown catches in particular, because he hasn't had a 100-yard game yet this year, he's got 6 touchdown catches inside the 20. That is tied for second most in the NFL. And in fact, he's got 5 touchdown catches on plays inside the 10. So he is clutch and knows how to find the end zone. Banks has his work cut out for him.
First, Love gives him a lot of 50-50 balls, so it kind of gives him chances to go up and get the ball on fade routes and stuff like that. So that's probably what I see it as in a red zone so far.
Now, without giving up any secrets, do you really play a guy differently knowing that there's a shorter field down into the red zone?
I wouldn't say I really play him differently. I just say probably I play probably more aggressive than playing in the field just because it's less space and it's more tight. So it's tighter for him to, you feel me, move around. It's tighter for us. So it's time for me to, you feel me, bring my aggression up.
Deonte Banks definitely has to have his daubers up, so to speak, in the red zone. Like you mentioned, 6 of those 7 touchdowns in the red zone. So that's exactly where Jordan Love looks to in the red zone. He's also kind of his big play receiver when he needs a big first down. It's 4th down against Kansas City. He's going to Doubs. He's going to throw it up and let him make a play. Romeo Doubs makes a ton of contested catches. He's got great leapability, great adjustment to the ball while it's in the air. So Jordan Love trusts him. If I put this ball out there, I trust that you're going to fight and come down with the ball. So So that's going to be a challenge for Deonte Banks. Once the ball's in the air, locate it. Can I locate it? Can I make a play on it? Because Dobbs does a great job looking back for it. So there's a touchdown that he caught from Jordan Love this year that almost looks like Aaron Rodgers was playing quarterback. The way that it was, he beat the defender up front, and then all of a sudden, boom, the back shoulder throw comes, and he adjusts beautifully. So that's the big challenge for Deonte Banks. Now, Deonte Banks has 2 interceptions on the season. He's given up 3 touchdowns, but only 1 in the last 8 games. So he's really done a great job as a rookie. He's not hitting a rookie wall. He's actually getting better as the season goes along. These 2 interceptions as well, Paul, great catches. One of them was a Willie Hayes kind of catch over the shoulder. And then the other one was right up the sideline as he kind of tight-roped it. So this will be a great matchup. The thing that jumps out on me with Deonte Banks is he has almost twice as many press coverage snaps as any other corner on the Giants team. He is the press guy, and whether it's in the slot or whether it's outside, he wants to be up in the grill. He wants to get his hands on him, be physical. You're going to have to do that against Romeo, who is really good at getting off the line, not getting jammed up. He does a great job creating separation from that. So this will be a great matchup, no doubt about it.
I want to give you 2 good stats about Banks. 10 passes defense, tied for second among NFL rookies this season, which is a terrific number for him. The other one is he's only allowed 54% completions on targets at him. That is the best amongst the Giants' top 4 corners in terms of snaps. So he has really, really stepped things up as a rookie. Done a great job.
Love it, Tay-Tay.
That'll do it for this edition of Head to Head This Week. Let's go back to Bob.
Carl, obviously there's some good pass rushers. Preston Smith's got 5.5 sacks, and then New Jersey native Rashawn Gary's got 9 on the other side. So there's a lot of premium on the Giants' tackles in this football game.
Yeah, it is, Bob. Again, they've got to continue, this group of tackles have to continue to communicate with each other and make sure that it's assignment football, because these are good players they're playing against.
Yeah, and starting against the Lions on Thanksgiving, the Packers have started to go a little bit more vertical. So Deonte Banks is going to get tested by Romeo Dobbs and the likes.
Well, that you can see the offense really starting to open up, because Love is now feeling comfortable within every phase of it. So they're opening up the entire playbook to him.
We're going to take a timeout. When we come back on the program, Madeline Burke joins us for Over Under here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. The Giants-Packers rivalry would reach new heights when the underdog Giants once again traveled to Lambeau Field as the 2 teams faced off in the 2011 NFC Divisional Playoff game.
Has time, fastball over the middle, caught inside Packer territory. Nix runs out of a tackle. He's to the 35, 30, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown Giants! 66 yards!
On the defensive side of the ball, the Giants made life miserable for Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, sacking him 4 times on the night.
Rodgers back to throw. He's under pressure. He has the ball stripped away. It's loose on the ground. The Giants say they have it. And they do!
In one of the signature plays from this historic season, Eli Manning would deliver the early knockout blow on the last play of the first half.
Heaves one down the middle of the field into the end zone, and Nix makes the catch for the touchdown! He went up with the big hands and caught it on the Hail Mary on the final play of the half. The New York Giants have eliminated the #1 seed Green Bay Packers as they come to Lambeau Field and outplay Green Bay.
They're all in.
Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Monday night, Giants and Packers, MetLife Stadium. Legacy game for Big Blue. It should be a lot of fun. Time for Over Under. Here's Madeline Burke with Amani Toomer and Sean O'Hara.
Thanks so much. Time now for some Week 14 Over Under, brought to you by the New York Lottery. I'm Madeline Burke along with Sean O'Hara and Amani Toomer. Guys, you know the rules. I'll throw out a number and we'll see if we think we're going to go over or under this week when the Giants host the Packers on Monday Night Football. Starting, of course, Sean, with tackles by Xavier McKinney. Over under 8 tackles for Xavier.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over on this. X has been all over the field, 43 tackles in the last 4 games alone. So he's been, a heat-seeking missile when it comes to the football. It doesn't matter if it's a pass or coming downhill on the run. He's made a lot of big plays. So I take the over. I think he might even double that. He might even go get 16 tackles in this game.
I am going to go under because I do not like the fact that we have our leading tackler to be a safety. That means they're getting completely through the entire line of defense and going to the safety. I want Wink Martindale to dial something up to where the front and stopping players behind the line of scrimmage. So I am wishing for Xavier McKinney not to get over 8 tackles.
Ooh, that is a good rationale, but I'm going to agree with Sean here and take the over as well because, like you said, he's been getting those numbers. I can see that rolling on, especially after a bye week, rested, fresh legs, keeping it moving. All right, Amani, over under 20 total touches for Saquon Barkley this week.
All the way up. I want him to get over 20 carries because I think that is the best way for this Giants team to win, with the best player on our team to have the ball in his hand as many times as possible. Saquon Barkley needs to get over 20 touches. Run, passes, anything. I want him with the ball in his hands more often than not.
If you've been watching this show every single week, we appreciate you tuning in. We've been begging for this for week in and week out, every single week. Give him 25 touches. You can't give the ball to Saquon enough. And yet, here we are with Tommy DeVito at quarterback the last 4 games, and Saquon really has not had more than 15 or 16 carries. So he's not getting the plethora of rushes and runs that I would like to see. But I will take the over on this because I think when you look at Green Bay, their defense is really struggling against the run. They've given up 160 yards per game in the last 4 games. So this is the perfect opportunity for Saquon to get all those carries, feed him the rock. They really haven't been throwing him the ball as much as we would have probably liked to. So I think if he's going to get over 20 touches, it's got to come through the ground.
I am going to take the over as well. We're going to overs across the board for Saquon Barkley in that same rationale, right? I mean, just last week, the Packers played the Kansas City Chiefs. Isaiah Pacheco had 6.1 yards per carry. The Chiefs, a very pass-happy team. Plus, the Packers pass rush has got a formidable force there. So I can see Tommy DeVito kind of checking down, getting Saquon in those short yardage situations. Finally, Sean, Jaylen Hayes has been getting involved, getting active, especially the chemistry we've seen with him and Tommy DeVito. Over or under 100 receiving yards for Jaylen Hayes.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over on this one and call me Optimus Prime here. I'm being optimistic. But the fact that he's only had 5 catches, that's the most catches he's ever had in a game. I think that he can get the ball more. And I think Tommy DeVito's not scared to feed it to him. Tommy has shown that, look, I trust you. If I throw the ball up, you're going to find a way to come down with the football. So I think over 100 yards is definitely doable. This Packers defense, they get after the quarterback. They've got some good corners as well. I think Hyatt's up to the challenge.
I think that Jaylen Hyatt has done a great job this year, but I know how hard it is to go back-to-back 100-yard games. So I'm going to go under. I think that he's going to have more catches, but I think he's going to have to work his mid-range because when you look at Jaylen Hyatt as a player, you look at him as a deep threat. Defenses are going to start adjusting accordingly to him, and I feel like he's going to have to supplement the underneath package to try and really become the #1 receiver that we all believe he can be.
I could see Jaylen going under this week, just barely. I could see the volume still being there, but it's hard to get a 100-yard game in the National Football League, as Jaylen Hyatt has learned.
Yeah, and those big plays, you have to have protection. So that's key. If Rashawn Gary's in the backfield, now all of a sudden he could be wide open and you don't get even a chance to throw the ball.
Exactly, but we can't wait to see how this unfolds Monday night at MetLife Stadium. Giants, Packers, that's a wrap for Week 14 Over Under, brought to you by the New York Lottery. Let's send it back to Bob.
Carl, Xavier McKinney had a big game against the New England Patriots and helping the Giants win. Very active as far as the run game is concerned, as well as playing pass defense. A lot of pressure on him this week, considering how vertical the Packers can take you.
Well, I don't know if it's pressure, Bob. It's just a matter of doing your job, staying disciplined. I think he has the athleticism, and we've seen him, as of late, really get more involved in the defense. So I'm sure whatever the game plan is, he'll be up for the task.
And Carl, one of the other things, Jaylen Hyatt, right? He doesn't have gigantic catch numbers, but he had his first 100-yard receiving game as a professional. And when the Giants make a conscious effort to get him involved, even if he doesn't have catches, the offense looks better.
The offense looks better, and the reason he doesn't have the numbers, it's not as if he hasn't been open.
Correct.
You know, so when they throw it to him, he normally catches it, and it's for big yardage.
We're going to take a timeout. When we come back on the program, we'll dive into strategy with Carl here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Monday Night Football. It's the Giants and the Green Bay Packers. Time for strategy with Carl Banks. And Carl, we're going to take a look at the Green Bay Packers and their offense. They got some talented receivers, and quarterback Jordan Love is getting the job done.
Yeah, and this is what I want to focus on here, Bob. They have really good receivers, but Jordan Love's ability to recognize the defense and find the holes in it. They'll go 4 verticals here. Looks like the defense is playing zone, no matchup, all eyes on the quarterback, but the quarterback has all eyes on these guys. They're going 4 vertical, and he'll find the guy because it's a single high safety here. So what does he do? He lets them all clear, and I'll freeze it. He's got 3 guys open. He can make every throw, and then he's got this. So you cannot, if you're playing zone, you've got to match these receivers because you've got a guy who's literally just run out of your zone defense. So when you're playing Jordan Love, you're not going to confuse him by playing umbrella coverage. And this is literally an umbrella coverage because here, and so what you have to do, you've got to match these receivers. That's a big chunk play because no one paid attention to the receivers, thinking that you're going to confuse the quarterback by putting a lot of defenders in a zone.
Yeah, and that's Jaden Reed, who's a rookie second-round draft pick out of where? Michigan State.
Michigan State.
There you go. All right, we're going to take a look at another one where Reed winds up making the play.
Well, here again, Bob, now let's just take a look here. This time they have him covered, but Jordan Love can move. He's mobile with the football, and because he's more comfortable in this offense, he can now get his eyes back down the field and avoid the rush. So early on here, we'll see. There's a rush that's closing in on him here. He escapes out of that. Now keep an eye on him. His eyes are still down the field. 3 defenders, all getting lazy. Once you see the quarterback scramble, they let him escape. He makes another big play. So if you're a giant defender, and we'll look at this play from the beginning, if you have your guy, stay with your guy. Let's just take a look. They're in man-to-man coverage here. This looks like man-to-man coverage here. He's your man until the play is over with. So he takes him all the way to the safety, and then they all just stop. It's this bad defense now because you got a quarterback who scrambles out of trouble, but you got a guy who's in man coverage, this guy here, and he lets him escape. They just give up on the play.
Yeah, they're just standing around watching, and Reed makes another big chunk play for them.
Yeah, so you have to stay active defensively when you're covering these wide receivers, and you've got to be able to match up because Jordan Love will find the open guy.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that out of Packers quarterbacks, Favre and Rodgers, kind of showing that same mobility. Now, they can get after the quarterback.
Yes.
And Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith are outstanding coming off the edges.
Yeah, Gary and Smith, the thing that makes them unique, Bob, and Gary in particular, who's an elite pass rusher, I think he's underrated. But what makes him unique is he's so well balanced. He's a balance of speed and power. And you'll see here, and he's relentless. You'll see here at the bottom of the screen, he rushes the passer. There's speed, there's power, and then he just continues to go at it. Not a fancy move other than getting on top of the tackle really quick. His first step, he's on the tackle. Boom, he just separates, and then he releases, can go either way, goes outside, continues, makes the sack.
Yeah, and that's Ryan Ramczyk, who's actually one of the better tackles in the NFL.
Yeah, you've got to anchor. When he comes, you have to anchor.
And now here is an example of just tenacity.
Yeah, I mean, he just keeps working. Gets stalemated early on. Now, this should be a win for the tackle. The tackle is anchored. He's got him stood straight up. But Gary just keeps working, and he makes the play. Now, it's not just Gary on this play either, Bob. You've got a blitzer here, takes on the back. So this is something that's in the quarterback's vision. Makes him step up. You got another player here, right there. So they're collectively a really good group of pass rushers, but Gary is one of their more elite.
All right, Carl. That's a look at what the Giants are going to have to deal with this week against the Green Bay Packers. When we come back, Above the Numbers with Amani Toomer and Paul Dottino when we return here on the Coach Daboll Show presented by Ford. Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show presented by Ford. Monday night, Giants and Packers. Time for Above the Numbers. Here's Paul Dottino and Amani Toomer.
Okay, so now we go above the numbers as the Packers come to town on Sunday. Amani, who do you have first?
Oh, I got A'Shawn Robinson. We all know that there's been some injuries along our defensive front. One thing we want to do is make Jordan Love be one-dimensional, and that's by stopping the run. This team, the Green Bay Packers, has not had one of the better running offenses this season. We've got to keep that up and keep a strong defensive front. And A'Shawn Robinson was brought in here as a run stopper. This is a big game to slow down this offense, to have Wink Martindale be able to cook up some really interesting pressures to make a young quarterback and confuse him so that he holds onto the ball and lets this defensive front really attack.
Yeah, you talk about that Giants defensive front. Dexter Lawrence was nicked up going into the bye week. Now, we've seen 5 straight starts for A'Shawn Robinson for the Giants. During that time, he's averaged 30 snaps a game and had 20 total tackles.
Yeah.
So he's definitely been coming on as of late. A.J. Dillon, by the way, had one of his best games of the season this past week against Kansas City. Ran for over 70 yards.
Yeah.
So the Giants, as always, want to stop the run first.
Yeah.
A'Shawn can be a part of that.
And he averaged over 4 yards a carry during that game. So that's one of the marks that you have to stop as a defense in terms of running backs efficiency.
Okay, Amani, I'm going to stay in the trenches, but I'm going to go to an offensive lineman, which, of course, most people would think, how can you go with a lineman when you're talking about numbers? Well, Justin Pugh has started the Giants' last 7 games at left guard. Now, we know they've had a lot of trouble running to that side for the most part this season. Barkley was out for a while, too, so there are a lot of reasons for that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The Giants are 7th in the National Football League in running the ball 48% of the time. So we know they want to establish the run. They want to be balanced. Green Bay, well, they are last in the NFL defending runs behind left guard at 6.5 yards a carry. And in fact, they're in the bottom 3 of the NFL overall, giving up 136 yards a game on the ground. This would be a really good week for the Giants to get that ground attack going.
The fact that the running game and our best player is still Saquon Barkley and giving him an opportunity to get more carries is always a good thing.
All right, Amani, so who do we have below the numbers?
We got Quay Walker. He's a young player, second year out of Georgia, is really starting to come into his own. Such a disruptive player all over the field, a run and hit linebacker. Going to have to figure out a way to slow him down and make sure when you line up, you know where number 7 is every snap of the game.
The 92 tackles you see, that leads the Packers by far. He truly has been their best player. Missed a couple of games with a groin injury in November, but he's over that now, and he's certainly making an impact. In fact, this season, he had a 19-tackle game against Detroit, Amani, then a 17-tackle game against the Atlanta Falcons. If you don't keep him quiet, he can do some damage. Now, last year against the Giants in the game overseas in London, he had 8 tackles, but did not do anything to really change the flow of the game.
Yeah.
The Giants would like to see that be the case this weekend.
Yeah, we're watching a star develop in Green Bay. Have him be a young player. I love to see it. Just don't have him star and really blow up versus the New York Giants.
I'm with you. That'll do it for Above the Numbers this week. Let's go back to Bob.
Carl, when the Giants traded Leonard Williams to Seattle, they had a void in their defense. A'Shawn Robinson was brought in to be that run stopper, and we've certainly seen him get better and better as he's gotten more reps.
Well, they've all thought he would be that guy that could be a great role player or a rotation player, and now that he's healthy, you can see he's starting to fill in that role.
Yeah, and then, Quay Walker is an important player for the Green Bay Packers. And, again, the Giants are going to need their offensive line to be strong in this football game. There's so many different components in this game when you take a look at, numbers that you have to hit, like getting Jaylen Hayes more touches or giving him more chances. And if, converting third downs is also a big thing for this team.
It is, Bob. And it's a good problem to have when you know you have some skilled players, that if you can find a way to get them going, your chances of winning is good, as opposed to not having skilled players available to you.
Yeah, I'm doing my own above the numbers here, but the Giants have to stay out of these 3rd and longs. They're having too many 3rd and 9 pluses. They got to keep that more manageable in order to keep the football away from this Packers offense.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's ball control and game management.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. When we come back in the program, Coach Daboll will rejoin us, and Madeline Burke with 3 things here on the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Welcome back to the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford. Legacy game Monday night, Giants and Packers. Time for three things with Madeline Burke.
It's week 14 and the Giants host the Packers on Monday Night Football. I'm Madeline Burke with three things you need to know. Matt LaFleur has got his Packers team turned around. They've won 4 of the last 5 games, but they've won 16 straight games in the month of December. They haven't lost a December game since 2019. And Jordan Love is also finding his stride. The Packers quarterback has thrown at least 2 touchdown passes in each of the last 4 games and hasn't thrown an interception in 3 straight. And Saquon Barkley is the Giants nominee for Walter Payton Man of the Year. It's the second year in a row that Saquon has received the nomination, due in large part to his impact on the community. Head to social media and use hashtag WPMOY challenge with Saquon Barkley's name, or head to giants.com/WPMOY to cast your vote. That's a wrap for three things you need to know in week 14.
Now we're joined by the head coach of the New York Giants, Brian Daboll. Monday Night Football, it's the Giants and Packers. And, Coach, it feels like that Thanksgiving win for Green Bay. And really the way they started the game, throwing a deep ball right out of the gate, has kind of revitalized this football team. And now they're coming off a win against Kansas City. What improvement have you seen in the Packers to this point?
Well, I think they have a lot of talent, and young talent too. I think Love has done a great job. He's really come along and fell into a really good spot at Green Bay, learning from Aaron and Coach LaFleur, and he's done a good job. These 3 young receivers are talented, and Watson and Reed and Dobbs, and they're starting to mesh well together. 2 good backs. They have a good defense, some stellar guys on the defensive line, and again, that's the NFL season. I think they've improved as the years went on, and you can see it with the last 2 games they played.
Green Bay's run game, it seems like they've become a more balanced team, and Love is opening up their playbook a bit. Their coaches open up their playbook. Do you see them as a balanced team in the way they run the football?
Absolutely, and I don't want to speak for them, but I think when they're a balanced team, they're hard to defend, and they're able to run a variety of runs, from shotgun, from under, from split backs, motions, and then they use those actions well, and they've done a good job. And again, you look at the Kansas City game, they go for on 4th and 1, they throw a shot down the field to Dobbs for 33 yards. They're aggressive, they're playing well, they're executing at a high level.
Yeah, and even defensively, like in the game against Kansas City, a lot of contested throws in that football game. When you look at them defensively, how would you categorize them as a defense?
Well, they're very good in the red zone, so that's one of the number 1 areas you got to be good at. And I'd say their defensive line is a strength, and we'll see if they get some guys back here at the corner spot. But they play with good team defense, consistency with the defensive coordinator, and they've done a nice job.
Rashawn Gary, who's a local kid, has got 9 sacks, played at Paramus Catholic High School, and then Preston Smith's a veteran guy on the other side. When you look at those guys, what makes those guys so good?
Their talent, number 1. Gary, I'd say, is an elite edge player, elite rusher. He's got power. He's got good pass rush moves. He's a problem on the edge. Certainly a guy that we'll have to account for.
And finally, Coach, playing a home primetime game, the fans fired up, with the New England victory. Just talk about building that momentum here down the stretch, because there's still a lot of football games to be played.
Yeah, try to keep the focus where it needs to be, which is on Green Bay, and to get ready for a really good football team. We're going to need our best week, and ultimately we're going to have to go out there Monday and do a good job of producing in our roles.
Coach, we appreciate a couple minutes. Best of luck on Monday night.
Thanks guys.
Coach.
Appreciate it.
That's the head coach of the New York Giants, Brian Daboll. This week's game between the Giants and Packers is presented by Quest, proud partner in health of the New York Giants. And make sure after the game, Giants post-game live, presented by Moderna, right on MSG, for the latest as the Giants take on the Packers on Monday Night Football. And don't forget, legacy game this week at MetLife. So for Carl Banks, Coach Daboll, and our entire crew, I'm Bob Papa. Thanks for joining us for this edition of the Coach Daboll Show, presented by Ford.